How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Mass Beer Reviews, back to another review. A little bit of teeny crowler time in the form of, I don't know if this is right, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's written on here. Boneshire Brewworks, it's their Dark of the Forest. I don't actually know if that's the name of the beer, but that's what's written on here. So I'm going to say it. It's a 10% Russian Imperial Stout with coffee. Boneshire. Harrisburg product. Never been there before, actually. Never had any of their beers before, but I know of them. How do I know of them? I don't know if this is the case because I haven't talked to him in a while, but I know that Chris from Beer Geek Nation actually had a stake in this brewery, part in this brewery. Now, he's kind of disappeared from the YouTube, and he hasn't done anything for a while. I actually kind of reached out to him not too long ago, didn't get much back, which is fine. Some people just need to kind of hit pause on things in life and stuff. But before last we talked, he was, kind of minor stake, nothing too big, but he had his, bits and pieces to do with this brewery. But Harrisburg's not that far away from me. And my brother lives there, my dad lives there, but it's been so busy in my life. I haven't been able to get down there. When I do, I kind of go in and out. But went down and actually hang out with my father, and I had a bit of time to kill, so I finally went by. And the cool thing about it is, one, the beers were quite nice. I enjoyed them. They had a lot of light and dark. There wasn't a lot of in between. It was big, heavy, dense kind of beers. And this is what they had on draft when I was there. I'm sure they do stuff in between. It was a Belgian double and some Russian Imperial Stout variants and some hoppy, lighter stuff. But they do 16-ounce crowlers. You don't see that often. Usually it's, your 32 ounces or even, a little bit bigger. Sometimes you do them, but to see a little kind of 16-ounce crowler can is pretty cool. So I kind of dig it. So, let's dive into the sucker, see what she's got. So keep that in mind. This is a crowler. This isn't actually a just kind of to-go can. Like I said, Boneshire Brewworks. It is Dark Side of the Forest, 10%. It is a coffee Russian Imperial Stout. It's all right. It's big. It's called Boneshire. Let's see. What kind of hiss are we getting out of this? So, give her a pour. This can, or crowler, if you will, is 5 days old. So, she's not that old either, so she should be good to go. Let's go logo first. People need to watch. If you want to know what kind of beer it is, turn your headphones on. Anyway, I can get the coffee and the roasted malts from here. Pinky finger, kind of rocky head. You expect with the Russian Imperial Stout to be a bit creamier. It has a creaminess to it, but there's like a rockiness kind of head dissipation to it, for lack of a better word. But other than that, look at her. She's dark, she's big, she's bold. She looks like a Russian Imperial Stout. Let's see what the nose has. Big, huge, bittering Russian Imperial Stout. You're getting a bittering from that roasted malt, but you're also getting a nice hefty kind of baker's chocolate off it too, but you're also getting that coffee. The coffee comes off nice, little astringency to it, just a touch, but it kind of works. Because there's a sweetness here. It's 10% Russian Imperial Stout. You need a bit of that bitterness to balance it off. Now, if you watch a lot of my reviews in the past, I kind of bang on breweries for going overly bittering Russian Imperial Stouts. For two reasons. One, I don't like them when they're overly bittering, especially from the hop side of things. And two, that's just not how Russian Imperial Stout's supposed to be. Courage, Black Albert, the big ones, the good ones, they don't do it. Sorry, old Rasputin, just not the style. I'm not a BJC person. It's probably the only thing I ever bang on style-wise. But yeah, she smells nice. She smells tasty. She smells balanced on the bittering and sweet front. Let's dive in. Cheers. She's hot. She's a bit hot. Just a little bit. Not too bad. She got a bit of heat to her. 10% Russian Imperial Stout. To be expected, especially something from a brewery where there's a lot of turnover, stuff like that. It's not just a can that's been sitting on a shelf. But she has a nice coffee vibe to her. The roasted malts and that little bit of astringency, I don't know which one it is. I don't know if it's the bittering from roasted malts and a little bit of a negative kind of astringency from that, or it's from the coffee. I don't know which one is, but it's like an extra kind of almost like the roast got to the point where it just charred, not burnt, but charred a little bit too far to where you get that little bit of kind of just a little astringency there. It's small. It's easy to overlook. It adds a little bit of impact to the beer, but it's probably my biggest negative when it comes to this. It's got a nice balance to it though, with the bitterness and the sweetness. To be perfectly honest with you, I get a nice non-super sweet baker's chocolate with a bit of bittering from roasted malts. You get a nice coffee element there that's not too big. The beer is still the star of the show, but you definitely know it's a coffee Russian Imperial Stout, not just a Russian Imperial Stout. Again, but they're all on both sides of the spectrum, very kind of, for lack of a better word, generic. It's got a nice big roasted malt, it's got a nice big portion of coffee, but I'm not getting anything outside of that. I'm not getting like, oh, it has this kind of espresso thing, or this uniqueness to the coffee, or this uniqueness to the malt. You know, one of my favorite things in Russian Imperial Stouts is this kind of cordial cherry thing. I'm not really getting that in there. It's getting a big, huge stout with a decent amount of coffee. Not a bad thing. But it tastes a bit safe to me. But it's tasty. It's not. It's way better than a lot of bigger stouts I've had at breweries that aren't that old. This brewery is probably, I don't know, give or take about a year old, So they haven't been around all that long. But for making a beer like this big and this well made, like I said, outside of that little bit of extra kind of burnt roastiness, it's pretty damn tasty stuff. Honestly, I'd love to check out like this in a couple years to see how they tweak it or variant it or things like that. They had a couple different variants of it there. I believe there was a base and there was a pumpkin one, but this is the one I end up taking home. But yeah, tasty stuff and a nice kind of first impression interview, beer review wise for the brewery because yeah, I dig it. They had IPAs, they had Belgian beers, they had wit beer, I believe, they had Goza or Berliner Weiss, they had Imperial Stout. So they across the board when it comes to beer. So I always like to see that when it comes to a new brewery. So there you go. Let's talk about it. It's one of the better Russian Imperial Stouts I've had as of late. I've had better ones. One of the better Russian Imperial Stouts I've had kind of locally in the tri-state area. Yes, without a doubt. Value and availability, I think it was like $5.50 for a 16-ounce crowler. That's not too shabby. And leave you with, if you like what? Well, you like this. If you like big Russian Imperial Stouts and coffee. Plain and simple, it gives you both in a pretty tight and tidy package. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, anywhere in between, down there, words and stuff and things. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, type in Massive Beers in the Google. If you want to check me out doing the podcast thing, type in Beer Massive into the Google or your favorite podcasting app. And hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. Hopefully you're enjoying a nice big Russian Imperial Stout right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.